welcome back to my room. This week, sadly, we were supposed to leave for Disney today. Today is Friday, November 6th. This video will come up this week, but we are clearly not there. So this morning we actually ran our virtual 10K for our Wine and Dine Half Marathon, which is why you see my water bottle back here, because I'm trying to hydrate because I definitely didn't drink like any water when I was running. So I'm a little thirsty today. So if there's a lot of pauses, it's because I need some drinks of water. Probably could use some actual drinks too. Good cocktail or two. So anyway, so this week we're going to be talking about, and by we I mean me, our top 10 Disneyland attractions. So I'm just going to combine Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure. And also to give a good disclaimer is I am by no means a Disneyland expert. I am definitely a Disney World expert, I would say, but I've only been to Disneyland twice. We were supposed to go this May, which we didn't go to. Obviously, Disneyland is still closed, but I do have enough of an experience with the attractions, and I think I've ridden everything there to know what my favorites are. So that is what I'm going to talk about. Technically, I didn't really go over this list with anyone else, but I know my mom would agree with this list because we have very similar favorite attractions, so I don't think she would disagree with this list. So I'm not going to go in really any order, except I'm going to leave my absolute favorite all-time Disney ride that I've been to at the parks I've been to, which is obviously just Disney World and Disneyland, and Disney California Adventure. So I'm going to talk about that last, but it's my favorite attraction, and if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know because I feel like I talk about it all the time. So, all right, let me pull up my list, get a drink, and we'll get back to it. I should mention that I am going to do a Run Disney update in terms of the virtual race, but we actually haven't got our medal in the mail yet, which is partially my fault, but so I'm going to wait until we do that so I can show you the medal from our virtual race today. So I will show you that later, but let's talk about Disneyland today. So in no particular order, except for the last one I'm going to talk about, like I said, I'm going to go through our top 10 Disneyland attractions / Disney California Adventure attractions. So first up is Alice in Wonderland. So this is in Fantasyland in Disneyland. It's pretty simple. I don't actually really love the movie Alice in Wonderland, but the reason I love this attraction is because it has a part that you like exit the ride, like when you're on it and you go outside and you're going down this hill and it's like woo woo woo, I don't know, like all like curvy, and it's so cute to like watch people on that ride, but it's also cool when you're on it to like go out into the open, and it's right next to the teacups, so you can see the teacups and you can see everyone kind of watching you have fun. And I don't know, I think it's really cute part of that attraction, and that's what Disneyland in general has so many cute like dark rides in Fantasyland, way more than I would say that Disney World has in their Magic Kingdom, but a lot of them are kind of weird and creepy. Which I guess Alice in Wonderland kind of is too, but I just really think that that outside part is really, really cool. And you get to sit, I think it's a caterpillar that you're sitting in, which is cute too. So that's my first one. My next one is going to be Pirates of the Caribbean. So Pirates of the Caribbean is obviously in all of the Disney World parks, or all the Disney parks, or at least most of them, I think. And I know that the one I think in Shanghai that is like amazing. So obviously I'd love to see that someday. But of the two parks I've been to, Pirates of the Caribbean is, in my opinion, 10 times better at Disneyland than it is at Disney World. It's a lot longer. It has cool drops. What I like about it is in the beginning you get to go through the Blue Bayou, which is the restaurant there. I think the queue is really cool. Actually, no, the queue is probably cooler in Disney World because it's inside. It has more like to look at, but I like the outside of what Pirates looks like. It's another ride where you can actually kind of see people on the ride because the boats kind of go by when you're in the line, which is kind of cool, so you can see where people load. It has more hills, and I think the beginning scenes are much better, and the end scenes as well are much bigger and more intense, but I think it's like far superior. It reminds me a lot of the Three Caballeros, where you're going through and you can see like the Hacienda de San Angel. It's like that dark atmosphere of the Blue Bayou. We have never eaten at the Blue Bayou. We were planning on eating there this next trip in May that we didn't get to go on, but obviously we didn't, so I can't say anything about that. But I know it's kind of expensive, but I think it's a good place to do a Fantasmic package, I've heard. So a little sidetrack note there, but I just love Pirates. I guess I will just kind of group it into Disneyland and DCA separately, so I'll just stay in Disneyland for now. And the next one on my list is It's a Small World. I know people are going to be like rolling their eyes at this one, but I love It's a Small World in general. I actually really enjoy the attraction. in Disney World, but I think it's far superior in Disneyland for a few reasons. One is you get to start the ride outside, which is cute. Obviously, a lot of California attractions are outside in general because they can, because they don't have to deal with as much weather issues. Although when we were there, it was like raining pretty hard for some of it. But so, and then there's like the cast members who operate the ride sit in these cute little like seats, I guess, like little booths that are like elevated, and they like always look like they're kind of stuffed in there, which always makes me laugh a little bit. I feel like that was definitely designed in the 50s when people weren't nearly as tall, or maybe is like a little bit muscular, I'll say. But it's so cute to go outside, and like the whole first part of the ride starts outside. And let us not forget that the facade of It's a Small World there is incredible. It's huge clock. It's beautiful like work with with the clock and all like the gold and the white. And then at Christmas time they make it look incredible, which I've never seen at Christmas. That's definitely on my list of things to do. Now that we own Disney Vacation Club, or I own Disney Vacation Club in California, like that was one of the things I was like, all right, that's gonna force me to go sometime during the holiday season because I really, really, really want to see the Christmas lights there. And side note, like the Haunted Mansion overlay, which I didn't put Haunted Mansion on my list, but the Haunted Mansion overlay there, I'll just throw an honorable mention in there. Like Haunted Mansion itself is fine. It's very similar to Disney World, but the Haunted Mansion overlay where they do Nightmare Before Christmas is incredible. If I was gonna pick something that, you know, I would put that on my list, I should say, if it's there all the time, but it's really not. It's only there from like Halloween through the Christmas season. Anyway, back to It's a Small World. And then the awesome part about the ride too is that when you go through, and people probably don't like this part about it, but I actually think it's kind of cool, is that they have Disney characters in the attraction. And I think I've talked about this before, but if you're going through and you see, like, say you're in, I don't know, I can't even think of any examples. I think like if you're in, well, okay, I know there's like an American part, like there's like a cowboy part, and they have Woody and Jesse in there. There's also for some reason like an under the sea part, like so they have like Ariel, or I think they have like Flounder and like, you know, that type of stuff. Like Mary Poppins or Alice are in the UK, that type of stuff. And they're just little. They definitely go, like, they fit in the attraction. They really look just like the rest of the dolls in there. But they are, I don't know, I think it's just a cute addition. And for people who don't like It's a Small World at Disneyland or Disney World, I feel like it's probably for that reason that they, you know, like there's really no, you know, for me there's a Disney connection because I know Walt created it and it was for the World's Fair, but little kids don't think there is, and the music they might like, but they don't really necessarily see things that they recognize per se. So I think that actually kind of connects people to it a little bit better. So that's next. Let's see, what else? Oh, the Railroad, the Disneyland Railroad. So, you know, the Railroad is probably one of my favorite attractions in Magic Kingdom as well. And it's very hard for me, if you're wondering why I keep comparing, it's very hard for me not to compare. I feel like that's all I ever do when I'm at Disneyland. Like, oh, I like this so much better than Disney World, or I wish we could do this like we would at Disney World, like Fast Pass, you know, like Magic Bands I think are pretty nice, but those are going away anyway. So anyway, so I'm sorry I do compare a lot, but I think that the Railroad at Disneyland is better. It has more stops on it, I think, or maybe it's about the same, but it has like this kind of cool thing in the middle where you go through and it's like a fake Grand Canyon and also like a fake like dinosaur, like dinorama thing. I don't know why, it's very cheesy. It was definitely made like in the 50s or 60s. I think it was there when the park opened, but I could have just made that up. And I don't know, I just really like it though. And I like how on this railroad you sit facing out, so you're not facing like your back, how like you're sideways, I guess I could say. Like, so in a normal train, like if this was the front of the train, this would be how you'd be seated. But in the Disneyland train, like if this is the front, you'd be seated this way. And the benches go that way, which is, I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. You see a lot more of the park that way and you don't have to keep turning your head. I'm sure it's designed like that for a reason, so you don't see the backstage areas as much, but I think it's really cool. And it's the original, and Walt loved trains, obviously. And so that's what I like about that. So what else can I say about the train? I think that's it. I also I haven't ridden the train in so long at Disney World. I forgot what it's like because it's been closed for so long with the Tron construction. I hope that opens. I think they're supposed to open next year, which obviously everything's like super delayed, so we'll see if that happens. But All right, let me drink some water. Okay, sticking with Disneyland, my next one is probably gonna get a little eye roll to you if you've been to Disneyland, and this is the Storybook Land canal boat. So Storybook Land is this thing in Fantasyland, and it is this cute little like village essentially of like models of Disney sets. So it would be like a small, like like a small Cinderella's castle, or a small like the house, the cabin that Snow White was in, or like Aladdin, like a little town of Agrabah, however you say that, or like I know they have like Arendelle in there now, and it's this little set, and there's a few ways you can see this set. So the one way is to ride the Casey Jr. Circus train, which is really cute, but the other way is to do the Storyland canal boats, and I think you can see them like from Dumbo and stuff too, but so these boats that are actual boats, like I mean someone's like steering this boat, and they tell like cute little love stories essentially about all the people who live it, like all the princesses. It's mostly princesses, but I think there's like Pinocchio and stuff in there too. And it's kind of funny because it's very old fashioned. I feel like it's this again very 1950s, like it's kind of a tiny boat that I feel like they have to balance pretty precariously so it doesn't tip over, and it's just like something I feel like you would never see in a modern day park, but it's so like cute and little and kind of nostalgic, I would imagine, for people. And I remember the first time we went on this, I was like, oh, this is gonna be dumb, and then we went through it and I was like, oh, this is so cute. I really liked that. So that's definitely on my list. And then I think the last ride I have in Disneyland specifically, yes, is the Indiana Jones Adventure ride. So I actually saved the best for last in Disneyland too. This is by far my favorite ride in Disneyland portion of the park as opposed to DCA, and it is so cool. So if you have ever ridden Dinosaur at Walt Disney World Resort in Animal Kingdom, it is the same ride system, but it is nowhere near to being the same ride. It is incredible. There's a really cool story about it when you are in the queue. The queue itself is amazing. It goes on for like miles and miles, I swear, and I feel like I've talked about this before. Now I'm like freaked out that I already made a YouTube video about my favorite things at Disneyland, so I'm gonna look real quick. Okay, I definitely have it. I don't know why this like sounds familiar to me that I'm talking about this, but anyway, so the queue is huge. Like it's super long. It curves and it winds and you go through caves, which is really cool. And it tells you the story about those curves, and then the whole ride is about Indiana Jones. And in all fairness, I've actually never seen an Indiana Jones movie ever. Every time I say that, my sister is like horrified that I've never seen one because she always talks about how good they are, but I know I should watch them. I wonder if they're on Disney Plus. I'll have to look, but I don't know, never watched it. So let's see what else. So anyway, so the attraction is so cool. I'm super bummed. The last time we were at Disneyland, we only got to ride this once because it kept shutting down. And one time we made it like all the way, like we were just about to get on the ride and it shut down and we had to leave. So that kind of stinks. But hopefully we get back there. I'm hoping that Disneyland is open by next May so we can go. I'm gonna be so bummed if it's not, and I'm kind of a little disappointed thinking about it now, is because they fired and let go so many employees and cast members, which like breaks my heart. And we were supposed to go on a tour of like Disney Studios and Imagineering, and I was like, I don't even know if anything's gonna be there anymore because unfortunately they had to fire so many people, or let go I should say. But anyway, on that sad note, the ride is so cool. I don't really want to give anything away, but the vehicle I think is moves a lot more than it does on what's it called? Dinosaur in Animal Kingdom. So I was assuming that most people who follow me on YouTube, which let's be honest, I don't have that many followers, are probably people who are more familiar with Disney World. So sorry that I'm like constantly comparing or trying to put it in perspective what it's like compared to a Disney World ride. So that is my last ride. Again, I don't want to spoil it, but just trust me, if you go there, it's amazing. There's really cool like dips in there and little like special effects, and you can actually see other people in their cars during that ride, which I think is really cool too. So next up, I'm going to move over to Disney's California Adventure and finish out my top 10 rides there, attractions I should say, but I did pick all rides. So next up over there is actually the Incredicoaster. So the Incredicoaster used to be California Screamin', and then they redid it when they changed that whole area to Pixar Pier, and now it's called the Incredicoaster. Last time we rode it, it was the Incredicoaster, but I had not seen Incredibles 2. Actually, I haven't seen Incredibles 2 until like a few weeks ago. So I didn't really understand a lot that was going on the ride, but I thought they did a great improvement of it. I just like the ride in general. It's cool. It's an old-fashioned kind of like wooden roller coaster type thing. You shoot off super fast. It's another outdoor attraction. You get to like go in a loop. When you're inside, that's when you were seeing like Jack doing all these fun things. You can hear like tons of noise in your ear. This is gonna sound silly, but like the video that they play, like the safety video before the ride starts, is really cute, and it's like I think they're like interviewing the Incredibles family for it, and like talking about the ride and stuff. It's actually really cute. So it's definitely a thrill ride. It's definitely a roller coaster. I don't think it's like the craziest roller coaster I've ever been on. So if you can do all mild coasters, I think you could do it. But if you don't like stuff like Aerosmith, or that type of like, cause you do, I'm pretty sure, go upside down. So I would not go on it if you don't like that stuff. The other attraction that I have over at DCA, let me check my, oh yeah, okay, so it's Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout was on my list too. I'm actually surprised that I like this ride. I was kind of bummed that when I had heard that they were changing this from Tower of Terror. I do like Tower of Terror in Hollywood Studios. It used to not be one of my favorite rides. Now it's definitely grown on me, and I think the story is super good. So when I heard that they were changing Guardians, I first immediately got nervous that they were going to change it at Disney World too, but it doesn't sound like they're going to, thankfully. But it totally makes sense with the direction they're taking that part of the park, and I do think in California Adventure, like, this part of the park does need some love. It was kind of a mess over there. Like, Bugs Land didn't really make any sense. No one really likes that movie that much anymore, or did they ever? I don't know. It's like, I know it's one of the original Pixar movies, but it was kind of like a hodgepodge of things over in Hollywood Land over there, so or whatever they call it. I'm calling it Hollywood Land. I don't even know if that's what it's called. So I'm happy to see that it's changing into like the Marvel campus or whatever they're calling it, and it looks like that Spider-Man ride's going to be super cool. But this, I think, is great. So it's essentially Tower of Terror. It is different from the Tower of Terror in Disney World. Again, sorry for comparing, but instead of your car like pulling up and dropping, you just drop immediately, so it makes it a little more scary because you don't have, well, I don't know which is scarier, but at least like I feel like in Disney World, like, it's kind of scary moving forward, but you know you're not going to drop until you fully like click in. At least the more you ride it, you realize that. But at Disneyland, it can just go whenever. But the screens on this ride are so cool. Like, the music is cool because it's all like the soundtrack from Guardians of the Galaxy. So like, you know, like 80s pop songs, or, you know, that type of stuff. And you go up and down. It has an Monsters After Dark section to it, which I'm not sure if is there all the time every night, or if it's just during the Halloween season, but we rode that part of it too, and it was really kind of scary in there, but it was super cool. The queue is incredible. They have like all the collector stuff, and Rocket is in there, which I love Rocket, so I really like this ride. Again, I know it's a thrill ride, so sorry if you don't like thrill rides, but I think you actually drop a little bit more maybe than you do at Disney World in terms of the number of times, but it's still not a very, like, it's not that many story drops, So that's next. And the second to last ride I have on my list is Tow Mater, and I think, what is it called? Jamboree is what it was called during Christmas or Halloween, and now I can't think. Like how I mentioned, just as a side note, how I mentioned that Disneyland is a cool place. I would imagine a cool place to see during Christmas because it has a lot of overlays. They actually do a really cool overlay for Halloween too. So Haunted Mansion gets overlaid, and Tow Mater's ride gets overlaid. A lot of the rides have like Halloween songs instead, like Luigi's Tires. There are a few attractions that had overlays, but the decorations in every part of the lands were incredible. So anyway, it's called Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, and this is very similar to the Alien Swirling Saucers in Hollywood Studios. It's that same ride system where it's kind of trackless-ish. It's not, but you go in circles and you kind of move tracks and that type of thing, and it swings you. And it's just, I don't know why, that ride just like makes me laugh so hard every time I'm on it. And Mater is just like not helpful. He's always like, well, wowee. It's like, I don't know. There's a song that's like, welcome to Radiator Springs. Welcome to Radiator Springs, and we sing it a lot to ourselves or to my nephew, so that's always fun. And it's just like such a goofy ride. Now, I've been on this ride in the rain, and I'm here to tell you it's not the most pleasant thing to go on in the rain, so just keep that in mind, but it doesn't rain very often in California, so that's a good thing. So that's it. And I'm going to take a sip of water before I talk about my all-time favorite attraction in all of Disney World and Disneyland in California Adventure. Okay, again, this probably is not going to surprise you because I feel like I talk about it all the time, or if you follow me on Instagram, I post about it all the time. It is Radiator Springs Racers. This is my #1 attraction that I've ever been on at Disney Park. Again, granted, I've only been to 2 different parks. So I'm sure there are rides, especially at Shanghai, that look incredible. Like that new Beauty and the Beast ride, I think that's at Shanghai. It looks so cool, but neither here nor there. This is my #1 from the ones that I've been on. So it is the same ride system as Test Track in Epcot, but it is, again, nothing like Test Track. So just like Indiana Jones is a step above Dinosaur, I think Radiator Springs Racers is like 10 steps above Test Track. And I love Test Track, don't get me wrong, but I love Radiator Springs Racers so much more. Cars is a very nostalgic movie for me. I talked about it in my top 10 movies. I watched that movie so many times because the kiddo I used to babysit watched that movie a lot. And so I've seen that movie inside and out. I know it very well. And so I just love Cars in general. And the land itself is incredible. And it builds up to like these mountains in the back where you can see like Route 66. And the ride is stunning. And it has like this cool waterfall feature. And it's like a nice early drive in the beginning. And the sheriff is in there. And he's always like, slow down. You're not racing yet. And I know I've talked about this. I don't know where I've talked about this, but I've definitely talked about this in another video before. And then you go through, and then at the end, you get to race the other cars. So there's 2 cars racing each other. So this is how it differs from Test Track. You definitely go pretty fast like Test Track. You go through curves like Test Track, but there's like some hills, and then you get to see who wins at the end. And I don't know why, but we are like obsessed with this ride. I just think it's so fun, and it's probably because it's nostalgic, but that racing part is so cool. And when you're standing in the line, you can see the cars race by you, and the landscape looks so cool. And like Anaheim is literally right outside. You can see Cars Land from behind if you're driving into Disneyland, but you really can't see Anaheim from the other side, which is cool. They definitely built enough of a berm there that you can't see anything out there, which is so cool. So you like feel so immersed over there, and usually it's sunny out and the sky looks so blue, and you're out in the car and you can see Flo's V8. Oh, so good. If you've never been to California Adventure, you go, make sure you do this. We always make it a goal to try and go on as many times as possible. I think last time we got in like 7 times or something, but our next goal is to definitely beat that record and go on next time. Hopefully if we can go. So that is my #1 ride. So that's it for this video. So I'm going to probably next week, if I've gotten my medal, do my Run Disney update. If I don't have my medal yet, then I will do probably Disneyland restaurants. I'm probably gonna have to combine quick service and sit down into one video because I don't know if I've eaten it enough to compare since I haven't been there only twice. And then who knows what we'll do after that. I'll have to go from there. So all right, I hope you guys have a good week. I'm trying to remain positive as ever that we can go to Florida soon because they did actually change the quarantine laws or the quarantine rules. So we can go to Florida now if we test 3 days before we leave Florida to come back and 3 days after. So it would have to be a much shorter trip because we'd have to quarantine when we got back still. But at least it's a little more manageable. So I would definitely say like if this rule stays throughout January, like our short trips are out because it's just not logistically not going to make sense to do it. But we might be able to go on some long trips still. We're just gonna have to cut them kind of short, but I will take any day at Disney at this point. The reason we're not going this week, even with the change, is that they changed the rules pretty last minute, and then also the numbers don't look that great in Florida, and the numbers are not looking that great here, and so I just didn't want to take any risks that we would be stuck or we get exposed. So that's it, and I will see you guys next week.